Thank you for joining us on the Tuesday edition of Journalist Hangout. I'm Ayodele Ozugbakun. To lock down or not is the raging debate in Nigeria as the coronavirus pandemic continues to spread in the country. Now is the time to keep ourselves safe more than ever before through social distancing. Today on the program, President Buhari test negative. Chief of Staff test positive for coronavirus as Lagos State tightens measures to defeat the virus. And later on the show, APC national leader Bola Tinubu expresses support for total lockdown if coronavirus pandemic worsen. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Olayinka Oyebile. So if you are ready, let the hangout start now. The coronavirus pandemic is taking the shine off everything dear to humanity. Nigeria and Africa, a most populous country, is beginning to feel the strain of the deadly virus as the number of cases continues to soar. After claiming its first victim in the country on Monday, the virus struck at the presidency, while President Muhammadu Buhari tested negative for the coronavirus. His chief of staff, Abba Kyari, has contracted it. We're told that he got it after a trip to Germany, UK, and Egypt a few weeks ago. Meanwhile, the Lagos State government is tightening measures to contain the spread. The state, the most hit by the virus in the country, is focusing on restricting the way people commute around. I think about now the governor of Lagos State, that's Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, is addressing a press conference to that effect.
I'm here again to update you on the COVID-19 situation in Lagos State, as well as the latest steps we are taking to tackle this disease that has thrown much of the world into disarray. Since my last address to you on Sunday, March 22nd, 2020, we have seen an increase in the number of confirmed cases nationwide, with Lagos still leading the pack with the most number of newly confirmed cases. Here in Lagos, we have seen a jump in our number from 19 on Sunday afternoon to 29 as at this briefing now. This shows that the numbers are increasing as predicted, but we're also proactive and promptly tackling the isolation and managing the suspected cases. All of our confirmed cases are at the infectious disease hospital in Yaba. I'm pleased to note that all of them are doing well and are all in stable condition. As I mentioned last time that we spoke on Sunday, we've identified other isolation centers across the 5 divisions, meaning in Ikeja, Badagry, Ikorodu, and Lagos Island. In fact, we are also preparing 2 locations at Bagada and another one just by here at Onike to ensure that we have a seamless, coordinated approach towards a quick identification and isolation of suspected cases without overwhelming what we have in Yaba. Fellow Lagosians, today I have also further new directives and guidelines to share with you as follows. We want to employ the organized private sector to encourage as many of their workers that are possible to work from home. Banks and other financial institutions are encouraged to prioritize online channels for their services to the public, with all essential key staff being in the office during this time. Only key staff, we want to employ them. The Chief Judge of Lagos State has also been directed to ensure that all magistrate and high courts are closed immediately to public and to suspend all court sittings as much as possible. Only essential services should be transacted electronically. All public parks, including those in private and residential estates, swimming pools, gym, workout stations, in all public places are expected to be shut down at this time until further notice. All markets and stores all markets and stores, except markets that are selling food items, water, medicines, pharmacies, medical equipment, and other related essential life-saving products, daily life products, are hereby directed to close effective from Thursday, 26th March 2020, for 7 days at the first instance. I'm sure we're clear with that directive. All fast foods, eateries, restaurants are enjoined to serve takeaway for all their customers, with no in-dining service permitted whatsoever. Shops in malls that are not selling any of these initially mentioned food items, medical equipment, essential daily needs, they are all meant to also close down from Thursday, 26th of March 2020. And I want to say that the compliance of this directive will be fully enforced by all our security operatives. We're also planning to extend our shopping channels by using some of our open spaces in some of our closed schools, meaning that we want to open up more markets in some of our schools, and this will all be food markets for people to have access to food and essentials. This will start in 2 days' time, and we'll tell you where all these markets will be in these new school spaces. I also want to urge that travel to and from Lagos, whether by road or by air, be avoided at this time. The federal government has also advised residents of Lagos and Abuja to stay put where they are. And I would like to reiterate that this is in strongest terms possible. As much as possible, let us refrain from interstate traveling of any kind until the worst of this crisis is behind us. As already stated, and I want to reiterate, let us refrain from gathering or congregation of any kind at all times, and where it is absolutely necessary for people to gather, we're changing that directive effective from Thursday from 50 to 25, meaning that from Thursday we do not expect to have gathering more than 50 again, or 25. Now it's a time to be, now it's not the time for meeting friends, planning dates or weddings of any kind, or any social event for that matter. We enjoin you to stay at home and stay away from gatherings as much as you can. It will help you, and it will also help us to do our own job. Anyone caught flouting any of these directives, as well as the previously issued directives, will have the full law to contend with. As I mentioned, law enforcement agencies and other relevant state protection agencies have been empowered with the power to deal with offenders or recreant citizens. We will not relent in ensuring strict compliance with all of these directives. I would also like to use this opportunity to thank all those who have complied with the stay-at-home order and other directives thus far. I urge you to continue to do that. Let me also specially thank our road transport workers who have heeded all the call on implementing social distancing within our parks and motor stations, as well as various heads of open market, our Iyalodgers and Mamaloggers. And I want to thank everybody for sensitizing themselves at various vicinities and associations. This is a collective effort, and with all cooperation, we will achieve the desired goal of arresting this disease in its tracks and prevent it from escalating to an unimaginable outbreak. Fellow Lagosians, as I've said previously, these are indeed changing times, and we need to act responsively and urgent to ensure that we put all of our precautionary measures at the highest level and do it right all of the time. I'm also not unaware that these directives will have consequences, and it's also a means of what you say, personal freedom, as well as your fundamental human rights. However, as you can imagine, the Constitution or any law for that matter would never have envisaged that we'll be dealing with coronavirus now. And so the doctrine of necessity is being evoked to allow us roll out these restrictive measures to protect and secure our state and its people. Let me conclude by saying that Lagos has shown, and I imagine will continue to show, incredible strength and resilience in the face of challenges. And this is what makes us a different set of people. I'm assured that we will win this battle as we've won others before this. And I'm confident that with all your support, and most importantly, by the special grace of God, this also will pass us soon, very, very shortly. The Commissioner for Health will tell us how many cases we're tracking right now. The first question was, is this a total lockdown? No, it's not. We still want people to move only for essential services. We still want people to have the discretion to know that it's only if it is important and critical that you move, that you must move. But if you do not have a need or a reason to leave your location, please stay at home. That's the best that you can do for your family, for yourself, and for us to ensure that we can do the job and do it well. So, and that's why we're extending the coverage of the lockdown from Thursday 26, like I said, to all markets, but except the ones that I've given exceptions to, that are selling food and essential household materials and medical equipment that we might need to restock or we might need to deal with. So, Commissioner, how many people are we tracking right now? So we're still doing about 1,800 people that we're tracking. Some of these things are directives that we hope and we believe that people will self-regulate and comply with. These are very difficult times. These are very, very difficult moments. It behoves on us as I'm hoping we'll comply, right? And if we do not have compliance, that's why we have the men of the National Union of Road Transport Workers working with. We certainly can escalate and get to know what this we can get to the root of this. Regarding the issues around tests, and how we're doing, the Honorable Commissioner will answer that. But you asked a very important question around life jackets, and our waterways. I imagine that it shouldn't be at risk, right? If you are properly kit, if it's not that the person that have used the life jacket is at risk, I do not think that should constitute a risk, for you, because you need to have a life jacket on if you are going on the waterways, and we cannot say that every one person that have used a life jacket must throw it away or discard it, and that, but if you are a regular user and you have your life jacket, right, it will also not be out of place for you to have one, and that's what you're using. But I imagine that the life jacket should not constitute a risk.
Currently escalating our testing capacity now to 3 centers, and each center is able to test between 50 and 80. So by the time those 3 centers are active, we should be able to test about 120 samples a day. The tests I'm talking about are the molecular tests, which is a very accurate test. It's 100% accurate. It's either the virus is there or it's not there, which is quite different from the rapid test kits that are circulating on social media. We still have to evaluate these rapid tests because not all of them are precise enough to give us the information that we want. And it can be quite dangerous for a test to give you a positivity when you're actually negative, or to tell you you're negative when you're actually positive. So right now we're still relying on our accurate tests in our laboratory at Yaba, Luth, and the Nigerian Institute of Medical Research. When it comes to testing, we're not testing all our contacts. We're only testing the contacts that develop symptoms, because we have to be careful about how we use the 120 tests that we have a day. We want to maintain these for patients that actually need to be tested for us to know whether they have the coronavirus or not, which defines how we manage them. So that's our testing strategy. It is not airborne, it is droplet-borne. So if I sneeze, it will remain in the air for a few seconds until the droplets fall to the ground. It does not remain suspended in the air. So in precise definition, it is not airborne, it is rather droplet-borne, and it remains active on some surfaces for a few hours.
So in life, I mean, things do happen. So you are making a financial loss for a week as against staying alive for the rest of your life. So that's why I'm saying that we're closing them down at first instance for 7 days. So meaning that it's not open-ended. It's not something that we do into perpetuity. We want to be real with ourselves. I ask you to slow down for a week, not even a month. Say that is your lifeline, right? 7 days will not hurt anyone, even financially. But even for us, you know, we've shut down the civil service, you know, and we have to do that because it's only when you have a life that you really can also talk about your financial, adequacies and all of it. So we will review it after a week. If we see a slowdown or a calm down, then certainly we'll get back to work. I mean, we do not want to shut down. We just want to be proactive. We want people to just calm down the spread so that we can truly really get to where we need to get to quicker and faster and be able to manage it.
Welcome back. That was the governor of Lagos State, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, from his Marina office and briefing journalists live about the corona pandemic. And Lagos is the worst to hit, and as Lagos is like the entry point into Nigeria when you're coming from overseas and even anywhere you're coming from, Lagos is the first port of call. So when you look at the number of people that are affected by this pandemic, Babajide, if Lagos should go on full lockdown, that means the implication will be great to the economy of Nigeria.
Yes, it's going to have serious implications at this time for our people, because I'm not aware of any stimulus plan for individuals and corporate concern. I'm not aware. So we have to brace up for dreary times, difficult times for our people, because no matter the form of business that you're engaged in, once there's a lockdown, your business will be in dire straits. So that's basically what's going on. Your business will be in dire straits. Business people will not be able to make money. The economy will be seriously affected. Even revenue generating agencies
come down.
Won't be able to make money.
Nobody can work optimally.
No? So it's going to be really tough on our people, because at this time we all know the Nigerian economy is not doing fantastic, and people are going to be made to go through pain. It's really going to be tough for our people.
When they are even telling you, Olanyika, that you should stockpile food at home, do everything, a lot of people will even tell you that they live on what they make a day, that they don't even have enough money to stockpile anything at home, that they cannot stop them from working.
You see, whether to lock down or not to lock down is like a devil's alternative. Apologies to Freddie Forsyth. Because when you look at it, if you lock down, it is going to affect the economy, it is going to affect the people. If you don't lock down,
the pandemic will spread.
The pandemic will spread. The people you are trying to protect, the economy you are trying to protect, it is going to affect it. So now, the issue is the government must have weighed all those alternatives and look at it that, what do we do? Do we save the economy and the people, or we say that continue? And then the issue of stockpiling, it is easier said than done. And if you look at what is going to happen, it's going to be very tough, because one, even while on my way to this place, I saw queues in banks and so on.
Yeah.
the ATMs seem to be not to be cooperating.
They even have limited capacity.
Exactly.
Maybe 20 million naira for some certain dates.
And also, a friend was just telling me today, he wanted to make a transfer from a bank, and he was told that the networks are not cooperating. But immediately he told the banker that, look, there is an interbank transfer from a certain account number to another account number
Within
in the same bank.
Intra-bank.
Exactly. The transfer was made. Why? What we suspect is that even the banks, thinking that maybe people are panicking, they want to transfer some money from their one account to the other, from one bank to the other. So it is a devil's alternative. And it is not an easy thing to say that go and stockpile, where is the money? This is just the middle or towards the tail end of the month. Everybody lives from hand to mouth. Where is the money is going to use to stockpile? Have workers been paid? Have companies made enough to even be able to say that, okay, let us be generous and pay our workers? So it's a tough situation.
Babajide, to the biggest story of the day, that's the Chief of Staff to the President, Abba Kyari, said to have been tested positive to the coronavirus. This is a very scary dimension. How did we get here?
Yeah, you know, as a key person in the presidency, Abba Kyari travels a lot. He travels with the president, moves around the country a lot as well. And he traveled to Germany. And then from Germany, he went to the UK. So he went for a meeting with Siemens, along with the Minister of Power. But the Minister of Power tested negative. So the big suspicion is that it was in the UK that he got in contact with the virus. Because at the time they even traveled to Germany, it wasn't such a big problem there, you know. So it's most likely he picked it up in the UK, and unfortunately, he didn't self-isolate. He's been moving around, having meetings with other key people in the presidency. He even went to greet the governor of Kogi State when the governor lost his mother. So must have shaken a few hands during that visit. And you know our people, the eye service that our people are very good at. Our people do eye service even in government and even in office, like where we are now. Eye service is also common. So people want to show you that they are loyal, you know, and that the job that you've given them, they are 100% accurate, good at it. So many people would gladly even want to hug Abba Kyari. The moment, because more or less is the one who supervises the ministers. So eye service is part of us. Many people will want to walk up to him and either hug him, welcome back.
If he doesn't even see
you want him to see you.
You want him to notice you.
You want him to see you.
Noticed you now.
You want him to shake his hands.
Yes, and
you know, and it's part of what we said earlier, that we took this ailment for granted.
Yeah.
Some of the people throwing their weight around today, they didn't take this sickness, this disease seriously from the beginning. Yeah. If they are taking it seriously from the beginning, what we are talking about now is not what we'll be talking about.
Imagine
someone like
the number of people Abba Kyari would have met.
Yes. So how do we then begin to track them? You can't sit him down, tell him to give you a list of people that he had interacted with. Because some people he would have interacted with them informally.
Yeah.
So like the ministers that he had interacted with, what then happens? The best thing to do is to begin to do random tests on all of those ministers or everyone in the presidency that he had interacted with over time. You know, within that time and now.
Check out the son of former Vice President Atiku Abubakar.
Yes.
That tested positive. When he tested positive, he was said to have met with the governor of
Bauchi State. Because
The breaking news.
his
before
wife is from
entering
Bauchi
this
State.
place- the breaking news before entering this place now
that
is
the governor
that the
himself-
governor has tested positive.
Yes,
The
and-
governor of Bauchi State.
Yes, and if the governor
Imagine
has
how
tested,
many people the governor would have met.
yes, contractors, his aides, and other people. We are approaching a very dangerous phase in the battle against this virus, and the earlier we all realize it, the better. I don't know how we'll be able to track all of the people that these fellows have interacted with, because the challenge we have is to do that. And all the people who do not want to self-isolate so that they can then get help, they are waging war against themselves, because there is no known flu drug that you can take that will heal you of coronavirus. It will eventually kill you, and it's a painful death, because it is
you're at home,
acute pneumonia.
Yeah.
Yes,
that
and you are
have-
deceiving
that-
yourself. You are
yes.
feeling feverish. You are feeling the symptoms.
don't want,
And you are home, and you don't want to come out.
You want to
And
come
just
out so that
counting
you
days
can
for
you,
yourself.
you can be helped. Then
Fast.
you are slowly killing yourself. In fact, the death is from it is certain. So they should just do the needful. Nobody needs a policeman to come and arrest you so that you don't put the rest of us in trouble. You don't need that, because even you will eventually die if you do not do the needful. So this is the thing.
You know, this one for me is a big lesson for each and every one of us, especially those who hold the reins of power. If this were to be an African thing or a Nigerian thing, most of those who have tested positive will have been flown abroad immediately. But now, all those places have been locked down.
Yeah, this is
There's
a
no
level.
way. So
It's
the
even worse there.
hospitals,
It's worse there.
The hospitals they fail to equip, that they fail to make livable, and what the doctors have always been crying about are the same people, hospitals, they will rush them to now.
Yes.
So it is a lesson that, look, in whatever you do,
Inevitably.
you must try and make your home better. If our hospitals have been up and doing, if they have equipped all our hospitals, why do we have only, I understand, maybe about 4 or 5 testing centers in a country of 100, 200 million people? At worst, we should have in almost all, in fact, in all geopolitical zones, or even in all teaching hospitals, whether federal or state. But what do we have? Sometimes you go into our hospitals and you want to cry that, is this really what we call teaching hospital? I mean, so it is a lesson that, look, for whatever it is, if it were to be things that is killing just ordinary people now, we may not have heard much about it. But it has first started from the upper echelon. It is taking them one by one. And perhaps that would teach them a lesson. Because for me, this is a learning curve for us that, look, whatever it is, we must make our hospitals good.
Babajide, now it's not very dangerous to fraternize with anybody who traveled abroad recently. Before, it used to be a thing of joy and everything when you say you're back from America, back from London. But now it's not something you can announce in public because you have to self-isolate. Now, so it seems, because that thing is actually a foreign disease.
Yeah.
Coronavirus. Imported disease. So if anybody is just coming into Nigeria, that person must self-isolate.
Yes, that's what must happen, no matter where you are coming from. The world is reeling in the hands of this virus, and it's not just Europe and America that's affected. Southeast Asia, every part of the world.
Ravaged everywhere.
You know, more than 34 countries in Africa already have cases. So wherever anyone is coming from, that person must first subject himself to a test, self-isolate, and there are phone numbers that Lagos government officials have released where you can reach them, you know, and then they will just haul you in for a test. So that's the only way we can save ourselves from this virus, the people in the villages are most likely insulated because, except of course someone who traveled recently and who had been infected encounters them, they are where they are safe. You will see clearly too that the most distant states in our country, they are not affected yet. The states that are worst hit are the gateway states.
Yes, gateway states.
Yes.
Lagos,
Abuja, because international flights land in Abuja.
Direct.
You know, so those are the states where this thing is really causing a lot of havoc. So, if anyone knows a brother or a sister, his family, who just returned from a foreign trip, advise that person, you know, to self-isolate, to have that
Or
test,
report
because
that person if
you may not,
anybody's
the
showing
fact
funny
that you are not
symptoms.
showing the symptom
It
does
takes
not
14
mean
days.
yes, that you are not carrying it. In fact, those of them who have gone through test the first time, they will still need to do that test again.
Exactly.
So it's not as if after one test you are home and
free,
dry.
yeah.
No, it can manifest. It can manifest even after 20 days. That is why this particular ailment is dangerous. You can imagine being subjected to a test, you are convinced that you are clean, and then after 20 days, this thing comes out of the blues. That's why it's dangerous. That's why it is unlike any other disease that we have encountered. You know, it's unlike any other disease. It's
Rich,
just
poor,
terrible.
old, young, and you know, it's even more. It's more dangerous with the you know, the old people.
Yeah,
because
in fact, you know,
their
that's
immune-
why on Sunday, the British Prime Minister had to tell people, tell Britons that it was Mother's Day in Britain, and that's the day that most people visit their old ones. He had to tell them that, please don't visit your old ones. Just send them calls or text and fraternize with them, but not physically, because they are the most vulnerable at this point in time. So it is very, very important, because now, how do we go about doing this? The issue must be tackled head on. And thank God that we are getting the leadership, the right leadership from Lagos. The governor has been designated as the incident commander.
No,
And
some people ask very important questions.
yes,
Questions like places like in Italy, places like Spain, places like, you know, China,
Yeah.
that they have the infrastructure, they could put up a big hospital in 10 days. In spite of that, they still had their own fair share of casualties.
yes.
This isolation center in Lagos, I don't think they have up to 1,000 beds.
No.
By the time the pandemic spread, God forbid, up to 1,000, do they still have the capacity? Now we are praising them. Are they planning for the worst case scenario?
I want to believe that. You see, sometimes you cannot predict what will happen. It is only when it happens that you show leadership. And so far, at least with the level of what has happened in Lagos, we must commend that the governor has shown leadership. And I also believe that even, God forbid, if it gets more compounded, there are other people who will also come out and join forces with him that, look, this man has done
The
enough.
point he's making is
Okay.
it's not about the individual.
Yes.
It's about what we have
institution.
on ground.
Yes.
If America, as big as it is now,
Yes.
is finding it difficult. In fact, America has had to call South Korea to provide them test kits. Because South Korea was able to generate about 10,000 test kits within a short time.
Yeah.
Every day, they are manufacturing test kits at the rate that the Americans can't cope with. So they're asking for support. So this is the thing. We do not have, across the country, we ought to have those test centers. But we don't have.
We don't,
We
yeah.
have a situation in which they take your sample, like the
They
governor
have
of
to go
Bauchi,
to
for example.
Abuja.
You have to travel from Bauchi
To
to Abuja to go and submit his sample so that can be subjected to test. There is nowhere in northern Nigeria apart from Abuja where you have that equipment in place.
So if
so if anything
coronavirus should
happens,
travel anywhere outside Abuja,
if it happens in Maiduguri, for example,
Jesus
and I'm happy the governor there to have said nobody should visit the IDP camps. You know, foreigners like to go to the IDP camps.
yeah.
He banned it quickly. Because if it begins to spread within the IDP camps,
no, that's
some of those IDP camps,
that would be,
they're up to 1 million people.
yeah.
So that would be,
be fatal.
in fact, it will be terrible. So this is the thing. If it happens there, you then have to travel about 1,000 kilometers to Abuja to go and present samples for
And
tests.
those ones will also be overwhelmed.
So we have to be ready as a country now, build new hospitals, you know,
Convert-
remedial
yes,
hospitals that we
convert
can
old
use.
hospitals, convert
Yeah,
them to
and also equip them.
Yes.
Then
them.
do we have enough manpower? Because there's a problem the Americans have. They
That's
are
another thing.
begging people who have retired,
retired,
doctors who have
come
retired
out
to
of
come in and
retirement.
help.
Today I saw Cuban doctors
Going
coming
to
in Italy.
Yes.
And they were welcomed with a
Yeah.
rousing
Yeah,
ovation
yeah.
because
Because Italy is
Cuban doctors-
overwhelmed. In fact, at a point, the prime minister was saying, look, the only place we can look to for help now to solve this problem is up there. That means they are banking on God. They have reached the point now that they have almost lost control.
I think as of Sunday they recorded 500 or 600 and something
On
deaths.
Saturday,
Let me see, 6,077 deaths now. They are the highest in the world.
They are the highest.
Because they have aging population.
India have 519 reported cases, but just 10 deaths. You know their medical
Yeah,
resources,
they have a
is top
good
notch, and they've announced a nationwide lockdown.
Yeah.
So,
India.
yes, India. So they will be able to check
It's a
the
nationwide
spread of
lockdown
the
already.
virus.
Okay, earlier before that briefing by the governor, the national leader of the ruling All Progressive Congress, APC, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, said he would support total lockdown if the situation arises. Let's hear from Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
We need to observe that social distancing. It's a new culture that we have to abide with. Congratulating the governor, the fact that he has the workers to stay at home, we must respect that. Particularly our students and our market women in particular. It will teach us a new method, a new thing that we're not used to. The hygiene, washing of our hands, and not having handshake, having to eliminate hugging and family excitement and all of that, and in bus stops and various environments, maintain distance from one another, stop the handshake, do what is necessary to protect the citizens. We endorse the position of the governor, expecting him to total lockdown. Yes, if the government decides.
And you be in support of that?
I'll be in support of it. If it is a total lockdown, if the government observes that you are not complying. I could listen yesterday attentively to Prime Minister Johnson of England, and Great Britain is under lockdown now. So if we have to do it, we'll do it.
The national leader of the All Progressive Congress, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, supporting a total lockdown if necessary. And international flights stop as at 12 midnight yesterday. The federal government stopped all international flights from in and out of the country. So the country, as a country now, Nigeria has been locked down. What would you do?
Yes, if we had done that earlier, this pandemic the situation won't be as bad as it is now. The government was advised to do it. They didn't listen. And look at where we found ourselves. Because you have to ask yourself that, do you have the buffers? Do you have can your health sector handle a monumental catastrophe that potentially this coronavirus is? Can we? If we find ourselves in the situation that the Italians have found themselves,
are we not going to record times 3
of course,
of this death rate?
because it's so bad that in some parts of Nigeria, even in Adamawa State, people go as far as Cameroon to receive Medicare because we don't have hospitals in many of those places, and some of those hospitals lack drugs, they lack equipment.
Basic medical
So
facility.
people go outside of our country. I remember the former EFCC chairman, Nuri Badu, telling me that some members of his family had to travel to Cameroon to
because
receive Medicare.
It's from Adamawa.
Yes,
Adamawa is very close.
Not far. So this is the thing. We have to, as a developing nation, we have to take steps to prepare for eventualities like this, because it will come when you least expect it.
Now we should be thinking about it.
What do we
the
do?
Expansion, yes.
But
Because
of
there's
course,
possibility.
if you ask me,
The command and call.
it's even at this time,
It's too late.
it's the wrong time for Nigeria to even be facing this problem,
Honestly.
because we
The
are broke.
economic down too.
We are broke. The economy is gasping, and then this
Oil price at $28 per barrel.
24, 28. You know, it's fluctuating. Tomorrow it could be 24. Tomorrow it could be 25.
As if you can sell at all now.
Because most of the industries who even need this oil are shut down.
Yes.
I'm telling you. In
It's always,
COVID,
always buying.
The thing is that, as I said earlier, I want to believe that this is coming at a point for us to learn that we must put our house in order. That is the most important thing. We must put our house in order. Every primary health care
now
center,
we need the health facilities now.
every
Primary,
hospital,
secondary, tertiary, we need everything now.
Be put
Can we get it now?
They must be put in very correct order. Because the way it is going, just as he said, if, God forbid, if it spirals beyond what it is now, only God knows what will happen.
We can handle it.
We need every hand to be on deck. Doctors, whether retired or still working, and also we should also emphasize personal cleanliness. You still go around some houses, you go around some market, you see everywhere dirty.
I was driving along today. I still saw people, somebody just arrived and all his friends were just shaking him one by one, and I was like, are you kidding me?
So,
even in this Lagos.
We need, just as the governor said, every media must also help government in trying to make people understand. And I'm happy that even the indigenous radio stations and TV, they are all on it. Because every morning I listen to the Yoruba newspaper review and they talk about it. Exactly. So everyone, we should not live. It is not a government thing. That is one thing I want every one of us to understand. Because if it happens, it's like the Yoruba say that if your neighbor is eating a bad worm and you don't warn him, his cry in the midnight will not let you sleep. We must warn ourselves and we must wake up that, look, these are times that are trying the souls. Every one of us must be up and doing to make sure we do our part.
Babajide, still now, some people still don't believe that the coronavirus exists in Nigeria. They'll still argue with you and say,
but let's face it now. The Enlightenment is really doing wonders. More and more people are aware now. At the beginning, people just simply sneered at the possibility.
Africa is so hot.
Yes.
Nigeria is so hot. Coronavirus.
So why is it spreading now?
Cannot withstand our weather.
Countries that are hotter than us, they have the problem. So, but I can say that right now things are changing, and it is that enlightenment that Asiwaju is talking about. He said it is even more urgent that we educate and increase awareness of this possible public health menace. And he said we need to observe that social distancing is a new culture that we have to get used to. Before, if you told someone, don't hug your friend, this and that, you look like what's going on. Have I offended you? But now people realize that the lockdown is imminent. You can see what the Kaduna governor said yesterday, that look, the markets are going to close and only those selling medicines and food will be allowed to ply their trade. And that's the same thing that
Lagos want to adopt.
Lagos government plans, food and medicines, because those ones, we need them to continue
So if you have the capacity, start stockpiling now.
So
ahead of
people,
the lockdown.
we just need, the best way to ensure that it doesn't spread is to limit contact.
Yeah.
Stay in our homes. If the trip is not necessary, absolutely necessary, don't embark on it. Because we have seen that even through the land borders, people have transmitted this disease. So it's not those people coming into our country by air alone who are spreading it, as we have seen. So it's more people. I believe that more people are getting to be aware. They may not, the illiterate people may not know all of the science, they will not have full knowledge, but at least they are aware that something that they had not been used to is happening in our country. In fact, I was reading today, and one of the scientists said that if you discover that you've lost your sense of smell, the best thing, go and do a test. Go and do a test.
Sense of smell.
Yes. So those ear, nose, and throat experts in the US, they are saying that once someone suddenly loses his sense of smell, that it is one of the symptoms or the clear signs that person is carrying the virus. So if any of us feels that he has lost his sense of smell, then it means that he has to quickly go and do a test, because that's the way to save your life. It's a painful death. It's a painful death that results from this coronavirus, because it is acute. It manifests in form of acute pneumonia. It destroys your lungs. The capacity of the lung, your lung to work optimally, it destroys it. So it's actually acute pneumonia. And when you have pneumonia, you can't breathe. No. You can't breathe. And if it is acute, you know how difficult that is. So we just hope that we'll continue to bring down the spread of the pandemic. I believe that if we can sustain the tempo, and from Lagos, the governor begins to
cut down the spread,
address us, and we are not hearing about new cases. Just like it happened during Ebola. Once there are no new cases, then we can be confident that we are defeating the virus. If the Chinese can really defeat the virus as they have done, then those of us that we have not reached even the point that the Chinese reached, we can be confident that this virus can be defeated.
Okay. Before we sign out, today marks the 80th birthday of Mrs. Christina Ebola Otitoju. That is Babajide Kolade Otitoju's mother. She's 80 today. Mama is 80. Like how you believe. She's a fan. Mama Christina Ebola Otitoju, she's 80 today.
What will I say? Mama, it's nice to see that at 80 you still watch us and enjoy our program
from time to time.
And Lemon.
Babajide, what can you say of this wonderful woman?
Yeah, I'm grateful to her for the way she brought me up. She made me to develop an interest in politics. We would talk and talk and talk into the night. Sometimes I will even doze off. I won't know that my mom is still talking. But she made me to develop a strong interest in politics. And she is also very critical to the successes that I've attained in my life. Till today, my mom still buys clothes for me. If she sees any clothes that is good, she will buy it for me.
At 80?
Yes. At every point, she will be encouraging me, take this step in your life. It's good for you. Take this step in your life. And that's why I see her as the greatest mother in the world, and I'm grateful to God for giving me this woman. I pray that she will live up to the 90th age, so that we can enjoy her a lot more. She taught me generosity. She taught me a lot. And I'm grateful for her, for all this.
If it's not for the pandemic, I'm sure all road would
Yes,
have
we
led
were
to
planning
Ilorin.
to go
I
to
mean,
Ilorin.
80 is not a
honestly,
small thing.
would have gone
Yeah,
to
but-
Ilorin.
Well, we can postpone it.
We have to, because older people are vulnerable.
Yes.
So if we go to celebrate, we go with our friends. Maybe
Yeah.
about 100 of us are there,
Yeah.
and one person has the thing. Those old people will be infected,
will be good.
and it's
We're not
difficult to
practicing
save them
whatsoever.
afterwards. So that's why it's wise to postpone our party. But we'll do the
celebration,
party.
but after
We'll do
the
it.
pandemic.
80 is not...
We'll defeat coronavirus,
Yes, we defeat
and
that.
then
Outside
we'll
that,
enjoy.
We come to celebrate.
Yes.
So happy birthday to Madam Christiana Ebolua Otitoju, and congratulations to the family of Otitojus and that are offering today. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. You can also watch Journalist Hangout on our platform showing on the screen. We're on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Our feedback channel is Journalist Hangout at tvcnews.tv. I'm Mayo Dilo Zuakun, asking you to stay alive and live healthy. Bye for now.